Hey everyone, it's the Shawn. Welcome to another edition of the Best in Events show. I'm joined by my regular co-host Lea Woodford. In this series, we look at people that are hosting events, doing great things in the event space, and what's working and what's not working, and tips and tricks you can use to have better events within your business and better meetings. Joining us today is Bill Wallace. Success North Dallas has an amazing event going on in Dallas. I've got to attend several times. Brings together the best of the best, long history, very good quality, great speakers, great event. We're going to zoom in a little bit about what's working at Success North Dallas, why it works, and how Bill uses that to build his network. Bill's big on networking, very powerful networker, and also teaches people the tips and tricks of networking. We love your comments, so wherever you're watching, drop your comments. You might be watching our Shawn McBride Fans Only on Facebook. You might be checking out the Best in Events YouTube channel. You might see this over at the Smart Fem Network. You might see it on one of our LinkedIn feeds. Wherever you're at, drop your comments. We want to hear from you. What did you learn from the show? Also, what do you want to learn from the show in the future? What do you become? We'll try to write back to you, or we may do another segment to answer your questions. I always remind folks, we don't do investment advice. We don't do legal advice on the shows. For those things, talk to your own advisors. But today, we'll be jumping in here and really learning some great stuff from Bill. Bill, thanks for making some time for us today.
I'm honored to be here.
Yes, it is wonderful to have you. You know, you were one of the people I thought of when we started doing this show. Lea and I said, let's zoom in on what people are doing great in events. Lea hosts the summit, as you may know. She has a Smart Fem Summit every year. And so we decided we want to go a little deeper on that and figure out what's really working. And you were one of the first people we thought of. So thanks for making the time.
Thank you.
Success North Dallas, a wonderful event. You get a great turnout of great quality people every month. Why don't you tell folks a little bit about kind of how it started and what it does?
Well, I was fortunate enough to have two incredible mentors back in the 80s, and one of which was Herb Kelleher, Southwest Airlines founder. Mm-hmm. And we just lost Herb, unfortunately, a few weeks ago. But one day I was sitting in Herb's office, and he said, Wallace, when you figure out why I should do business with you, come back. Now get out and figure it out. What he was wanting me to do was to do something to set myself apart from the herd. So I looked for the next 6 months. That was in March of 1988. I looked for the next 6 months about what people did not like in networking. I probably attended 30 different networking groups. I didn't look for the likes, I looked for the dislikes. And those dislikes were card pushers, pitch bookers, selling of wares in the room, charging of guests, money changing hands, and the pressure to be something in the sales mode rather than something yourself and who you really are. Yeah. So I came up with the idea to start a high-level networking group to fill a void in North Texas. And I eliminated card pushers, pitch bookers, selling of wares in the room, selling of wares from the lectern, charging of guests, which we've had to modify a little bit, and several other things. And also in 1988, this is now, we're October of 88, 6 months later, women were not liked in networking. But Herb Kelleher said, and this is back in the 80s, ladies, so don't take offense, because you're why we're still here going into our fourth decade. So I jumped forward, now I'm going to jump back to 1988, October. Mm-hmm. And I went through this, and I got down to women. And Herb had told me to be disruptive and create transformational change. And when I got to women, Herb and Roger Meyer, largest Cadillac dealer in the Southwest at that time, said, yes. And I said, accept women. And Herb said, you're going to have a problem. And I said, no, sir, I'm going to have a big problem. You said create transformational change through disruption. We're going to be a third women from day one. And he looked at me and he said, well, heck, Wallace, you know, I gave him hot pants and booze at the beginning of Southwest Airlines. Anybody that knows the story, they gave away free peanuts, they gave away liquor, and all of the flight attendants were in hot pants. And that was their modus operandi for the first 3 years until Herb realized that he didn't want to treat women like that. And he changed the whole thing. So anyway, the long and the short of it is, 25 years later, I really realized what Herb had said. When we did our 25th anniversary, we had 440 people in the room.
Wow.
Only lunch we've ever done. Cambridge hotels paid for the whole thing, from the food to the drapes. We had Boone Pickens host, the CEOs of BNSF, Burlington Northern Santa Fe, USAA, 7-Eleven, and Fluor, all on the same dais. We honored Nancy Lieberman, and I looked out at the room, and it was 50% women. One of my proudest moments. It was then I truly understood what Herb had really said. And as we've gone through, we created a safe space where anyone can come and be themselves. Our qualifications for membership are very simple. Be a success in your own eyes. I have no right to define what success is to you. Honor your commitments. Let's go back to the handshake. And be a giver. It's all about our fellow men and women. Now, why is it named Success North Dallas when we have speakers come from all over the world? Because I was in the insurance business at that time, and I wanted to sell insurance in North Dallas. I seriously, it should be named Success World. But seriously, I would bring people to Success North Dallas to introduce them to other people. And they started bringing people there to introduce to me. And lo and behold, Success North Dallas ended up being responsible for 90% of my insurance business. Because you see, I taught people what networking really was. Networking is when two people meet, and there's an 80% chance both of those cards are going in the trash can. 95% chance that one of them is going in the trash can.
Right.
If you don't do something to be a little bit different, then you miss the boat. My business card, for instance, and in 15 years, I've not handed somebody a business card, even if you've asked for it, without asking, may I give you my card first? My card, and I'll hold it up, has one rounded corner. People ask about that. When I hand it both hands, just like they do in the Orient.
Yeah.
I look at their card when I receive it. I ask a question about them. When they look at my card, I simply say, success is what we all aspire to. The interconnecting C's, which is on the logo, which you can see, well, that's how we do it. Connecting the right people for the right reasons at the right time. My card is remembered. People call me. It's just something a little bit different because that's networking. That space in between where I give the card is when I start net weaving, where we find ways to weave the two networks together, where the sum of the parts is far greater than the whole. And I'll take Leah's 5,000, Shawn's 5,000, my 5,000, and link them together. And we've got 15,000 exponentially to 2, to 2, to 2, and you can't even imagine where that goes. When we send out an email at Success North Dallas, our trickle down is 250,000 people because we have woven networks together. And then the final stage of networking is the true servant leadership. It's when I meet Lea or Shawn, the thing that's first going through my mind is who can I connect them to that will better them and they may better the other person.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that's going through my mind. And that's the servant leadership side. And when you lead with that, it always goes that 180 degrees and comes back to how can I help you?
And you've certainly walked that walk, Bill. I mean, I'll say that for the audience. You've always been good about who do you need to meet, who can I introduce you to, and I mean that's just what you do. It's part of your core.
I'm just going to jump in and say this. I met you in Dallas, I think at a C-suite event. But one of the things, and I've been doing events for nonprofits for years, you know, and they never have a budget. But one of the things that I've noticed about you, and Shawn and I talk about this a lot, is your audience and your speakers and your sponsors are all in alignment.
If you're not equally yoked, the yoke on the oxen, if they're not equally yoked, one of the oxen will break a leg and bring the other oxen down. So you have to put emphasis on that being equally yoked. And I have, because that's also part of creating a safe space to where everybody feels safe, they're not being hit on, They're not being dealt a deck of cards. You know, when somebody walks up to me with a stack of cards in their hand, that's one of the biggest turnoffs in the world, because I know I'm going to get dealt a card, whether it be number 1 or number 52. I'm going to be dealt a card, and you can rest assured that card's going in the trash can.
Right.
It won't be kept.
I've seen people sit at a networking event. I won't name them, but people in Dallas might be able to figure who it is. But they sit at the corner of the bar with a stack of cards in front of them, and they just, as people walk past, they like just hand.
I could probably name the 4 names that you're thinking of.
I knew you could, Bill.
Immediately.
I don't know if anybody did that.
When I see them, I figure out a way to get at least 2 people between me and that person sitting at the bar, and I just ease around them.
Right. Yeah.
Anybody that's with me, I take with me around them.
It's at the point is, it's not a numbers game, right? I mean, you need to meet a lot of people to build your business, obviously, but it's not about the numbers. It's about the quality and the connection.
Well, that's why he's standing room only, right, Bill?
I beg your pardon. I'm sorry, I missed that.
I said that's why your events are standing room only, is because you go deep versus wide. The wide comes, but if you go deep with the relationships and the values there, the people will come.
The people will come. You know, the build it and they will come. Same time we do the meetings. We have done them for the last 26 of the 30 years at one location, Prestonwood Country Club in Dallas. And train them and they will come, yes. 3rd Wednesday of every month, 7 to 9 a.m. I will tell people, don't worry about who the speaker is. It's going to be great. Just be there. And some people say, oh, it's so early. And one lady one day said, yes, it is. It's god-awful early, and it's god-awful worth it. Just be there.
Well, you just said one of the magic things, too. I notice, like me, you don't have your events at hotels.
No, I do not. I have them when there's flat space parking, where people have ease of ingress and egress. And also, it's a differentiator. A country club as opposed to a hotel. It's nice. And we're family. They're our family. I mean, these people, we present an employee of the year and have for 17 years every year.
Wow.
To their employees. We give them a $250 check, 2 plaques to hang up, and it's a big deal. We just did this last month. The CEO, the executive vice president, the senior vice president, and a board member of Club Corp all showed up for it.
I love Club
People
Corp.
like that to come to the meetings.
I had my event last year through Club Corp at the Las Vegas Country Club, and it was beautiful. This year, I'm having it at a conference center that's kind of tied in with my husband's hangar party, but it's beautiful. It's brand new. It's just gorgeous. And very much like the country club, it's gorgeous. And you're not dealing with all the hotels, maid carts, the noise, and it's just a beautiful venue.
I might have to fly out for that.
Yeah.
When my buddy that owns Status Jets, David Henry, has a hangar party, I can assure you I'm there. So
well, come to mine.
Come out.
Leah's got some beautiful photos. I'm excited to get there and check it out because it looks fantastic.
Well, first of all, I'm just going to...
Nonprofit is something else. You mentioned something else. When I say it's all about our fellow men and women is our third point. In 1979, I received a letter, and they said, would you help us build a house? And I was 29 years old, and I was a smart aleck, and thought, well, they can't do it without me. So I took a Sharpie, and I wrote on this letter, if you're crazy enough to ask, I'm crazy enough to say yes. Would you like to tell me about it? And that was before I entered the insurance industry, when I was general sales and marketing for an international lumber wholesaler. And I got involved with that. We opened the house debt-free Valentine's Day of 1981.
Wow.
The Ronald Powell House of Dallas. 6 months later, I realized that was the gas in my tank. That letter changed my life. That letter put me on a different path, scope, vision. A vision is a succinct description in vivid words and phrases of not what is, but what could be. It completely changed my vision for my life. it changed so many things. I went on to sit on the National Board of Charities, the Grant Committee, Bryant's House, a home for HIV and AIDS affected kids here in Dallas, Oblet, several other things. But that nonprofit side of it that you mentioned, that giving, I have found people would rather do business with a giver than anyone else. Givers have an aurora about them that cannot be faked. It is so real. And people that work with or volunteer with nonprofits, I admire them. I'm not one of those angels, but I know a lot of angels in that world, and they're incredible.
You know, I'm just going to jump in real quick and tell you, first of all, Herb Kelleher, wow, what a mentor. I was in the Southwest family for a while. My former husband was a captain for Southwest, so I know how amazing he is. But my mentor was Alice Cooper and his nonprofit. And most people don't know what a giver he is. And he's also a great scratch golfer. But I learned so much from him. And I still work with him and his wife 9 years later, and we're still working with their nonprofit. But so true what you say about being a giver and doing the right thing and showing up.
Well, I met Herb Kelleher through Ronald McDonald House. They were cooking there in flight, and we were talking about possibly having some kind of an alliance with Ronald McDonald Houses nationally. And I was involved in the dialogue, and Herb and I met each other. We hit it off, and I'm in his office one day, and I said, I've got Roger Meyer for a mentor, but I think I need another mentor. He said, well, you got any ideas? I said, yeah, you. He said, am I stuck? I said, yes, you are, sir. And in fact, I was with the family at the funeral. It just, it changed my life. The letter changed my life. Being a mentor changed my life. In fact, an incredible lady here in Dallas, I think one of the top 10 most powerful Hispanic females in the world, top 100 most powerful Hispanics, named Nina Vaca. She has a company called Pinnacle Technical Resources, $1 billion company. I think she's finally turned 40. And she spoke to Dallas in 2008 or 9 in the worst of times. And she closed her talk with, in these horrible times, my company will be up 20%. So let me tell you why. If you don't have a mentor, get one, better yet, get two. And that mentorship that you talked about has saved more companies and more careers than any MBA program or any other educational program in the world. Because a mentorship program is an accountability program with the rights to hold one another accountable. Not the one person, but one another accountable. And I have mentored 35 juniors to doctoral candidates. And my definition of a successful mentor program is when I have learned more from my mentee than my mentee has learned from me, because that meant I shut up and I listened to them.
Yep. Well, that's good. And I think, Bill, I think as we tie this to events, because this kind of core culture at Success North Dallas and other things, I think the point is the listening, right? I mean, you're when you're running Success North Dallas, you're listening to what your audience wants, the people you're serving. It's not about you getting in front of a room. It's about listening to what they need and giving them more of what they want, right?
Stepping up to that lectern in front of that room is magical. It's one of my favorite things that I do in that particular room. I love to speak, but when I walk up to the lectern in that room, and there's 200 people there listening to me, and I think to myself, why are they listening to me? And you just answered the question, because I have listened to them.
Yeah, and
they enjoy being listened to. My degree of interest in you will be determined by the degree of interest you have in me. And that's so true every day. We talk a little bit about this networking and what we really try to do. And there's 3 A's involved in that. The first A, and people listen to this because this is so important as you build your businesses, your careers, your life, and your networks. But the first A is accessible. Folks, I've got to be able to find you.
Mhm.
If I can't find you, how am I going to work with you, do business with you, date you if I can't find you? And once I find you, you can't be doing this. You can't be walking around with your head down, your hands clasped. You have to be up and vibrant. And when I come up to you or you come up to me, you have to welcome me into your space. You have to make me feel like I am the most important person in the world, that you want me here. Because when you do that, I'm staying there with you.
Yep.
If you don't, I'm moving on. And the final one is you have to be accountable, to that relationship that you're building from the first encounter. And rest assured, my friends, you do not know when that first encounter will occur. Take, for example, I am pulling into a parking lot. I cut you off. I don't even acknowledge you. I take the parking space right out from under you, and I get out of my car and I prance myself right into the building. And the next time you see me is when I walk on stage to deliver the keynote.
Wow.
I won't even ask you what you're saying to the people sitting on both sides of you, in front of you, and behind you, because we can't have it on this broadcast.
Right.
But I promise you, we're in a 24/7 world, and you don't know when that encounter is going to occur.
Yep.
Rest assured it will. And that could or could not be. And a good example is I carried a VCR out of an old video shop years and years ago for this old man. I went back to that video shop the next week, and his son said, I want to thank you, and I didn't know it was his father. I want to thank you for helping my dad into the car last week. I really appreciate you. My name is so-and-so, and our family's from Venezuela. We got 4 houses up here, and we do this and this. Over the next 10 years, I made well over $1 million off of that family and the contacts therein, because carried a VCR out from a little old man that was struggling with it, instead of walking right into the shop, because I was in a hurry to get my video and take it home and go watch TV and have a steak.
Right.
It's those things that occur that will make you or break you.
Yeah. So
And you've got to be accessible and accountable.
I love that. I love that. Bill, can we talk about this? Because I have seen promoters just lose their shirt on events, and yet you manage to fill it up every single month, and you've been doing it for a lot of years.
We're in our 4th decade.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. I never would have thought it. I thought it was going to last 4 or 5 years. I was going to pay my dues and move on. But this guy upstairs had a different plan for me. It took on a life of its own, and it's just been magical.
Yeah, it's an amazing event. I mean, I've got to attend several times. The people are great, and it's just you've really built a culture, Bill. I think that's the biggest thing that hits me is it's a culture. I mean, you've talked about your values today, and I feel a culture there.
Well, we're going to have to get you out to the Smart Thumb Summit.
Why not? I was actually invited last year, but I couldn't make it. We're C-suite.
Okay. I think you got invited this year now.
Yeah, it's April 25th and 26th, and we're going to have an awesome hangar party.
Okay, I guess I'm going to have to go buy some tickets to fly on Southwest Airlines.
Well, it's a pretty good airline, Bill.
It's a lot of fun.
Yep.
It is, but I have been a fan of yours for a really long time, and I want to thank my co-host partner, Shawn, because we met in person several years ago, but I told Shawn that as we do this, we have to get Bill on here because he's managed to not only build this, but keep it going and fill it. And, you built it and they come and they keep coming.
Our meeting, and a little paid political announcement, but on April the 17th, we've got an incredible speaker coming. And I met this gentleman because we were honored enough to have the author of E-Myth, one of the top 5 business books ever written, Michael Gerber, flying from California. to speak. And in the audience was R.L. Thornton, Bob Thornton III. Well, the Thornton family helped build Dallas. And there's a freeway with their name on it. And he came up to me afterwards. He said, "Oh, you're a native Dallasite. I need to take you to lunch." And I said, "Great." So we went to a restaurant called Sevy's. And after 2.5 hours of him telling stories, we both had to go. And on the way out the door, I said to him, "Would you come to Success North Dallas?" And by the way, this is the former vice chairman of Chase, founder of Texas Commerce Banks, on and on and on. "Would you come to Success North Dallas and have a storytelling hour, telling stories of Dallas?" He looked at me and he said, "I've never been asked to do that before." "Yes, I will." And he is coming April the 17th. After that, we're doing a bonus session for an hour and a half on C-Suite and Hero Club. And C-Suite people are coming from New York and Hero Club from South Dakota. And so we're going to go from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Wow.
with 200 to 250 people having an absolute blast. So
Well,
if
check
you're
this
in
out.
Dallas, come check us out, successnorthdallas.com.
Fantastic.
Oh,
Bill, why don't you just tell people generally as we wrap up here how they check your work out, how they get a hold of you, and how they check out Success North Dallas?
Well, this is my new book.
Oh, I love this book, by the
Catalyst
way.
for Success.
Yes.
The Fulfilling Life of a Servant Leader. Being a catalyst for success, the fulfilling life of a servant leader. And I think it hit #1 in 5 categories on Amazon. It's available on Amazon. You can get to me through that. You can find me at successnorthdallas.com. Or best case scenario, pick up the phone and call me. Here's my cell, 214-686-7778, or bill at successnorthdallas.com. I welcome your inquiries. I welcome your input, because you see, you all are why there is a Success North Dallas. It's the people in the room, not me.
Fantastic. Well, Bill, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Bill.
Audience members, pat yourself on the back for, thinking about these things, for making your events better. We always like to recognize what you're doing. Love your comments, so drop them below, and make sure you check us out and subscribe to the Best in Events YouTube channel. And you can go to planningdoneright.com and get on our email list. So thank you, everybody, for being here.
Shawn,
It was a lot of fun.
Shawn, might I close this out in my manner of each meeting? May you do what you love to do with people you love to do it with, on purpose. God bless and Godspeed.
Fantastic. Couldn't have been better. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.